say this.
What?
God is there even when I was in the closet mixing up potions.
Hey guys, welcome back to another Limitless Conversation, season 2. And I told you guys that we were going to be having some guests on the podcast. It's very important for me because I have some really great conversations with the people in my life. Like we talk about really, really good things. And I'm like, people need to hear this because I feel like we just don't get to see how regular people just talk all the time. And so it's like so good to like hear these like moments because it's just regular life things that happen to us that are just like, you know? So I just thought it would be really dope. So today I have my first guest and it's my mama, y'all.
First guest.
Let's clap for my mama.
I didn't know that.
Welcome to the pod, mom.
Save the best for fast.
Yeah. We're coining new terms.
Yes,
okay.
we are. We're going to make this thing about us.
We're going to make this thing a
life.
Thing. A new life, which is another podcast we've been filming for. But yeah, so you want to introduce yourself, Mom? Just like, you know your name and...
Okay.
I don't think I'm too crazy. This is my mama for the last 28 years.
Yeah, at least, right?
At least that we're aware. Who knows? She could have been mother and daughter and related.
I think you were my mother in a past life.
Past life.
Honestly. I'm not sure there's not this life, but okay, we'll go with it. So my name is Dr. New, and I am a spiritual mentor, spiritual life coach. That's what I do. Mm-hmm. And I'm here with my baby girl to have some conversations that we always have anyway. Mm-hmm. We're just videotaping them now.
Yes. And if y'all see me adjusting a lot, y'all, it's because I don't want my rolls rolling like this.
Oh my God. She's like 1 pound.
I don't want, and I'm so tiny, but I don't want these roly-poly-olies.
She is 1 pound.
I got to fix my, I like to sit crisscross applesauce. That's just real. Okay. So, yes.
I wish I had that problem.
What I will say is, and I told my mom this recently, like one thing my mom told me when I was very young was, as a woman, you're going to always want to change something about your body. So just love your body where it is. Mm-hmm. And that really stuck with me. So no matter what phase I'm in, I'm like, I'm going to just love my body. I'm going to just love my body where it is because I've noticed as a woman, it is like that. Like, it's like, oh, I wish my tummy was a little smaller. I wish I didn't have no hip dips and strawberry legs. Like, I didn't even know strawberry legs was a thing, child. It's the new generation. They just have a name for everything.
I've never even heard of strawberry legs.
Strawberry legs are the dots on your legs.
Oh.
So they call it strawberry legs.
People have dots. I thought I was the only one that had dots.
Exactly.
I called it my mom said it's a birthmark. So
all the dots? I'm talking about like these little dots that's on your leg. Like, you know how your leg has
where
the hair follicles would grow in.
Oh.
It's called strawberry legs.
Strawberry legs.
Yeah. So exactly. In a world where they have a name for everything and everything's a problem.
Everything's a problem.
You have to just love where you are. Let's just start the podcast off with that. Okay. So that was my gem for my mama that she gave me at a young age that I carry and tell everybody because, yeah, when I became a woman, I realized that was the thing. That was the thing. And that's how I didn't realize when I gained all that weight. I was loving my body and I was chunky, but my weight distributed well, but still.
Yeah, I was a size 2 when I had your size. I was a size 2 when I had you, and I thought I was fat. I was like, I'm too fat. Mm-hmm. I'm like, now, chick, you was not fat.
Right. As I'm trying to like.
Oh, you were not fat. My father he'd be like, that's not what you're supposed to say. Beautiful English teacher that he was.
Right behind that preposition.
Oh, no, I was not fat. That was right. Sorry about that. Just to hear dad in my, was that right?
Granddad did not play. Granddad did not play that. So what I want to do this season of my podcast is I want to start off every episode with something that we're grateful for. Gratitude is like one of the best practices ever. It is one of the things that keeps me feeling good. It's just remembering all that I have to be grateful for. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important this season that every time I start an episode, me and my guest, I want us to start off with something that we're grateful for. It could just be in general. It's something that you're appreciating this week.
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to go?
Mm-hmm.
Tell you something I'm grateful for?
Yes.
Wow. Even when you said that, it just hit me like, oh, that's so beautiful. I have so many things. But the thing that I want to lead with today, especially because I'm on your show, is I am grateful. It's going to sound like I'm conceited. I am a little bit. When it comes to the divine space, I'm very arrogant. But I'm very grateful to see the most beautiful and amazing parts of me and you.
Oh.
And how you use those beautiful and amazing qualities to guide and shed light for me. It's beautiful, and I am very grateful for that, and grateful for your patience with me as your mom. I'm very grateful for this space that I share with you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's facts.
That's Shay.
That's Shay.
Thank you for that.
It's good. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'd be grateful if you send me $20 too. I'm just kidding.
Look, you know, when they blow this podcast up, it'll be like, No, that was good. That was good. I know mine, but I'm trying to figure out the best way to word it. I want to say, like, I'm grateful for the ability to be something. And like what I mean by that is like, so for example, today I have these things, right? Like the kind of person I want to be. And so today I had a beautiful time expanding into a version of me I want to be. So I'm an auntie, y'all. And there's a way that I envision myself as an auntie, you know, like how I want to show up for my niece. And so today I had the opportunity to show up for her in a way that like reflected the woman that I always envisioned myself being and just like actually stepping into it and being it. So I'm grateful for the ability that we have here to just be whoever we want to be, like in any moment. Like, I think that's so dope that we get to do that.
Yeah, it is. You know, I don't want to hog your podcast and a whole lot of you, but I do want to for a little while. I wonder, do you give yourself as much permission as you should to see all of the amazingness of you? Like, do you ever just sit in amazement of you? Yeah. Because you have, you know, life throws you some interesting things to overcome. And you've had some interesting things to overcome. But you've done so well at your recovery. And I wonder, do you ever sit with yourself and just look at how amazing you are, how good you've turned out?
Honestly, in the least vain way, I think that I do.
Good.
I do have those moments a lot. But what I will say that I want to create more in my life, which is even beautiful that you're here and saying this to me, is like I want to create more moments where not only I appreciate me, but I appreciate me so much the world around me reflects how much I appreciate me. So that even the people around me get to like see it and like tell it to me too. Because I'm human, so sometimes I have moments where I might not.
Yeah.
You know, so it's always good to have people around you too that see it, that can remind you when you don't see it.
Yeah.
So I do have moments where I'd be like, you know what? And I'd be so obsessed with myself and proud of myself.
Yeah.
And then I have moments where I can be like, I want to do more. I want to be more. I want to have more.
Yeah.
You know. So.
You know, I want to share why I asked that question. Because I don't live with you anymore. Like, you don't live with me.
Yeah.
So I don't get to see you every day like I did when you were growing up. Like, I could see you and go, oh, she's doing that. Yes.
Right.
Good job, lady. Yes. Go, Sean. But I can't because you're gone.
Right.
So I don't get to see you every day. So I don't get to monitor how you're treating yourself or taking care of yourself, other than when I come over and visit, I go, I'm so proud of her. Look at what she's doing.
Yeah.
But it's good to know that you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And you should.
Shay. I think it's definitely a new space for me within like the last few months. I don't think I've always been like that, but definitely the last few months it's been
there.
Yeah.
That's Shay.
It's been a lot of appreciation. But I do appreciate you saying it. Like, you know, it nothing hits like when your mom says it to you. Like, we always want our parents to be proud of us. And I know you've always said that to me. But like these days, I really feel it when you say it too. So it's like, I really feel like you feel like that.
That's Shay. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad to know. I always meant it. But it's good to know you can.
That I can feel it.
Yeah. I was talking to a friend of mine. I actually tell my friend all the time, I'm so proud of you. I think you're doing such a good job. And they would go, mm-hmm. And so one time I told my friend, I'm so proud of you. And they said, I can hear you. I said, oh, you can hear me now.
Yeah.
Yay. Yeah. That's good.
So sometimes you can't hear it if you don't see it or know it yet for yourself. So it's like when people say, it's kind of like, okay, you're just saying that because you're supposed to say that.
Yeah.
But then when you start to feel it about yourself and then other people say it, it's like you can really feel it.
Yeah.
You can really feel it a lot more. So
that's Shay.
Shout out to gratitude.
Shout out to gratitude. I like that.
Yeah, so I definitely want to start every episode like that. So, y'all, honestly, y'all, I kind of like, I was going to say raw dog. My mom would say I probably shouldn't say that. But yeah, I just be YOLO in these episodes. Okay. But I do believe I have a direction in which I want us to talk about today because we have been doing things similarly lately in terms of our relationship with God. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, we both have our moments with God. Mm-hmm. And so I want to talk a little bit about this shift and this change in our relationship and the dynamic with God. And I initially wanted our first episode to be who is God to us, but I want to go first where we are with God and how has that looked differently recently than maybe it has over the last few years.
Okay. You want me to go first?
I'm open the floor to you first.
So the question is, how is God different today to me than it was years ago?
Yeah.
How far years ago? You were growing up years ago or 2 or 3 years ago?
Well, you can share both.
Okay.
If they have changed, like if there's been different.
Oh, drastic change since you were a kid.
Yeah.
Do you remember going to church?
Yeah, I remember the bread. I remember the bread and the juice. That was my favorite thing, communion. I love that little thin bread.
Yes.
And the grape juice. It was so good. It really was.
So I guess when you were a kid, I took you to church every Sunday and Wednesday Bible study. We were the Holy Rollers there.
Really?
Yes.
Went to Bible study?
Every Wednesday. Yes, we did.
Maybe I remember that a little bit. I remember that a little bit.
And during those times, God was in the sky, I guess, like how they taught it to me. Mm-hmm. God in the sky and being very judgmental. So, you want me to start over? I'm sorry. It's okay. No, you can. I can keep going?
Yes.
Okay, it's okay.
Sorry, y'all.
No. So back then, God was in the sky. That's how I was taught. God was in the sky. He was very judgmental. And I was just trying to earn my way to heaven, honey. Mm-hmm. I was trying to make sure I went to heaven and y'all didn't go to hell. I was there every Sunday and every Wednesday. Yeah. When they was open, I was my best to be there. So at that time, I was trying to earn my way into heaven. Mm-hmm. But I also wanted to know God. So I was telling God, I want to know you because, this is important. I don't want to go to hell. Mm-hmm. So today, like God drastically changed from being this judgmental father that sat in the sky to being non-judgmental and everything. So every decision, every choice, every thought, every experience, good and bad, no separation, really being everything, everywhere, all the time,
Yeah. Right.
and it became an experience, a personal experience, as opposed to a biblical Bible, what they said experience.
Okay.
So now it's more, I guess it's personal. And today I think that every relationship with everything, humanities, animals, trees, whatever, they have their own personal relationship.
Yeah.
Theirs may not look like mine. Mine may not look like theirs, but it's still God in the midst of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big change. Big shift.
Big shift.
Yeah.
I want to talk about taking God out of the sky. Because when you said that, I was like, yeah. And what's very funny, I want to say this because when I first started my spiritual journey, I remember I was talking to my dad on the phone, and I was because he was asking me, and I was like, what's funny is I remember God was telling me, or not God was telling me, I understood why people needed to believe that God was in the sky. Like I was like, as I started taking my journey, I was like, I totally understand why people believe God the way that they do. Because my journey went, we went from the church, then went to the more spiritual side, which is weird to say because I'm still spiritual, but that version of spiritual where it's like law of attraction, and it's like so much weight falls on you when you believe that when you start to understand that you create your world and you create the world around you and you attract certain things to you, and that becomes a lot of weight to like carry. So when I started to see that, I'm like, I totally get needing to put God in the sky, because when you take all this weight onto yourself, when you get down, it's like you don't know how you're going to get back up because you believe it's all on you to do it. There's nothing else outside of you that is assisting you, guiding you, or with you. It's all you. And so when I took God out of the sky, that was the journey for me. And so now moving from taking God out of the sky, putting God into almost like myself, even though I still a little bit believe that there was something outside of me, but a lot of it I felt like was on me. Like I'll say like, I felt like 90% of it was like my thoughts. I can't think negatively. I have to be positive. I can't go down. I can't have any of those things because I know that I'll attract bad things, I have to watch the conversations I have in the show. It became so much. It became a lot. And so that's when I kind of went into my knowledge of God, understanding why things are this way and why things are that way. And so now recently coming back into God, but God differently. So God's not in the sky, but it's also not all on me. And it's like, for me personally, I believe that God, I see God as like knowledge. It's like infinite intelligence. So like Google would be like God to me. Okay. So it's just like this energy, this resource that has access to everything. And all of it is just it's energy, and everyone has a part in it. But I still do sometimes revert back to like putting God in the sky, just because in some moments it's just an easier path for me. So even though I have this wisdom of all the other stuff and this knowledge, like sometimes God's like, whatever is easier, like whatever is just can put your mind at more ease, just use that. And since I grew up on God that way, and then I grew up in the spirituality, it's just like this morphing of both. And then in different seasons, I kind of use each of them. Like if I'm in a season where I'm like, okay, I can't take all of this. I need to put God back in the sky. Hey God, just want to say if you can hear me. But then if, as God gives me strength, then I can go back to also being accountable for it as well. Like watching what I'm consuming sometimes, because that does dictate how I navigate and what kind of moods I'm in. And being mindful of the company that I keep, because it is energetically, it matters. So I kind of balance between the two these days. And for right now, I like it there. I think that's what's serving me these days.
I remember when I went into the hospital, the last time I went to the hospital, And, you know, they were not hopeful
Right.
of me living.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent the pastor in there to pray for me, right? And no problem. That's what they do at the hospital.
Yeah.
So he comes in with his Bible and he starts to pray, and I was like, this is not working. This isn't working. And I was talking to God and I said, I wish that this would work. Because I know his intentions are to come in here and give me some words and lift me up. And I was like, it's not working.
Right.
And I was talking to God, I was like, it's not working. No, you know this isn't working. So I said in that space, I'm speaking to when you said, sometimes I put God in the sky. I'm speaking to that space. So when I was in the hospital, I said, I know that I have power. And I know that this is up to me to live. I know that. And I said, but I'm so tired. I'm so weak. I don't have a lot in me. But I want you to know that I've decided to stay. But I could use some assistance in the strength part of this walk.
Ooh.
And I know that I can't get it inside of the way I was introduced to you, because the pastor represented the way I was introduced to God by way of the Bible and just believe.
Yeah.
And I wasn't in just believe anymore.
Right.
I was in something totally different. So I was telling God, I was like, this, this isn't working, but I do require some assistance. And I know this is on me. And so what God put in my spirit was, once you have decided that this is what you want, I'll do the rest. No worries. I will do the rest.
Yeah.
You don't have to try to muster up strength. You don't have to try to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Just you decide, and I'll do the rest. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then I just rested. And I sat there and watched them doctors come in and be like, wow, you might make it out of here.
Yeah.
So it means a lot. When you talk about God, to me, it means a lot to know that there's something bigger than you.
Yeah.
That exists. And so, of course, I went through the journey of understanding that all of this was me, like God is me and I am God. But God didn't show me the oneness to make me feel like I was the one.
Right.
It showed me the oneness so that I could trust and know of it and be a part of it without experiencing not it.
That's good. I need you to run that back. I need to close my eyes and hear that.
Yeah.
Can you
So God didn't show me that I was one with it and it was one with me for me to feel like I was it. But it showed me that as for me to trust it, to know it, to be a part of it, to rely on it, to exist within it and not see myself as not a part of it, but to see myself as a part of it. But it still was bigger than me. As my uncle would describe it, who was my mentor, Uncle Edward, And so he would say to me, if you have an ocean and you get a glass and you put that glass and you scoop up some of the water out of the ocean is still the ocean, whether it's in the ocean or it's in the glass. Yeah. God is the ocean and God is the stuff in the glass. It's just proportioned differently. There's a smaller portion in the glass because the glass doesn't have the capacity to hold the whole thing, but it is holding it, and it's still ocean, or it's still God. And so that meant something to me, and is what I use to know the oneness of me and God. But I didn't create the birds. I didn't create the trees.
Right.
Those things existed prior to me. I am a part of the birds, though. I am a part of the trees.
Right.
And that's the beauty of God, is the expansion. If you just look around, you'll see the expansion of it. Yeah, and that's become something really cool for me. Can I say this? In my doctor's class, I say, because I teach the doctors of metaphysics class, in there I say to people, who is God? And it's important to know who you say God is. And so I ask my own self that question, who is God? And so, because when you're on the journey to find God, first you have to know who is the God you're trying to find.
Right.
And one of mine was finding a God I could serve, finding a God I could trust, finding a God I could submit to, finding a God that would be all that I needed it to be emotionally. So who was God? It wasn't a God that was going to judge me. It wasn't a God that was going to punish me. I couldn't serve that God like that. So I had to find the God of me. Yeah. And so that was important for me in my journey.
That was
finding
good.
the God of me.
I have to digest that. That was good. Because like now both of the realities are kind of living in my head. And now I just kind of lean into whatever in each moment. But that was helpful in how you explain like the purpose of understanding why we are a part of God, even though there's a bigger God. Because I know when I went down there, because you call it tree of life and tree of knowledge, right? So as we went through the tree, as I went through the tree of knowledge part, right, which is having all the wisdom and the knowing and asking all the questions part of God, then that was the point at which I felt like everything was falling on me when I was in knowledge. Now that I'm moving back into this, as I'm calling it these days, just the goodness of God and the acceptance of God. I'm not necessarily asking as many whys as much as I am observing what happens. And I'm observing it. That's why I feel like that integration with God is important, because it's like, so God's like, I'm showing you that we're one in this thing. I'm navigating this thing. And I'm kind of like, I'm just on the ride, just watching how it beautifully unfolds, because God knows my heart. God knows what I want to experience. And so it's like, God knows what it wants me to experience too. And in this space, I believe that God wants me to have nothing but the best and nothing but goodness. And I'm also moving away from thought processes of, I don't think that God, because we have free will, I don't think that God wants us to go through the negative experiences that we go through, but God allows us to go through them because we have free will. So now I'm in a place where I'm just like, God, I just want you to navigate, because you're going to just take me through all the goodness. And I don't want no parts in that, because when I get to getting too curious about things, asking all these questions and trying to impart my will on it, I make things harder, because I'm not just in flow with how you've already orchestrated. I'm not trusting you. So my space now with God is more like just trusting and relaxing in the goodness of God. But I see why it was beneficial for me to go through the knowledge of God too, because I needed to like, and I agree. I didn't feel like I was the God, but just feeling like I was the God of my own life felt like a lot when I was just carrying it myself. Because now I'm like, now I have to go to you too, God. I need to consult with you on things. I can't make these decisions by myself. I need to sit with you. And God's been putting me in a lot of spaces of just slowing down, especially in a world that can move really fast. My world these days move a little slower.
Yeah.
Just learning to slow down and talk with God before I make any decision, because God isn't like manic, panicked, or frantic. That's what I was saying. So if I'm being manic, panic, or frantic, it is not the highest version of God. Now, obviously, we know God exists in all things. It is all God. But when I'm speaking of the God that I want to, that I prefer to operate with, there is an assurance, there is a confidence. And so when I'm being all like frantic about things, God's showing me to just slow down, take my time. And I always hear from God when things are slower.
That's right.
So just that need to like slow down, be with God, and be more in a collaborative effort with what's in alignment with the visions that God has also given me for my life too.
Yeah, I love that you said inviting him into the space or inviting him into the conversation, because when I look at it from my lens, that's one of the things I want. Trust, for me, that's trust.
Yeah.
Like, and I trust you now, so let's have a conversation. So I can still have my unique individualness.
Yeah.
And still consult with you in the almightiness of it all.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still an individual, but I'm also experiencing, by way of God, this massiveness of me.
Right.
Right? And so thank you for allowing me, but I can only do that inside of trust.
Right.
This is why I said I had to have a God of trust.
Yeah.
Like, I have to trust you with my life. And I couldn't even have a conversation to say, what direction should I go, unless I trust you.
Right.
And I got to trust you.
Right.
So I love that, because to me that represents that you have a God that you trust. The God of trust.
I'd agree with that. And what's funny is I was even talking to one of my friends about trusting God. And I was saying, we would like to think that we would just automatically trust God.
Oh, for sure.
We would like to think that, but we are human. And what we know is that trust is not given, it is earned. And so this relationship that I have with God now, we are building. And that's why I do kind of go between the spiritual stuff too, because it's like I think about like how Abraham Hicks talks about momentum, right? I trust God. Do I trust that God gonna give me $1 million tomorrow if I ask for it? No. You know, because me and God have not got there yet. We're still building up our momentum.
Right.
But I can trust that God might bless me with like $50 to $100.
Right. It's exactly.
And so then when we and God do that $50 to $100, I'm just using money because it's easy.
Right.
So many times, then we'll move to $500. You know, then we'll move up. But it's a process. And that's how I think we begin to expand
for sure.
into that.
Yeah, I always say God meets us where we are.
Because God already has it.
Yes.
God's never lacking it. It just be us. We be the drama.
That joker, wherever we are, that joker's right there. Wherever we're standing, it's right there. That's what I know for sure for my experience with God, right? Is that joker is always there. No matter where I stand, it's right there. If I'm standing in lack, it's standing in lack. If I'm standing in abundance, it's standing in abundance. Wherever I am, so shall it be.
That's why I think for us, it's been so important to acknowledge like how we personally see it. It's just everything is God, not necessarily God and devil, right? Because God never leaves us. God is never gone. It is in everything and in every experience that we're having. I'm just preferring this to be with the higher vibrating God, which we would call God, and there's like the lower vibrations, which would be called devil. But I believe that, and you believe that they're all God.
Yeah, we're saying the same thing. I say that they're different characteristic traits of God.
Yeah.
You know, and so sometimes you're at God the provider. Sometimes you're at God the healer. Sometimes you're at God the deliverer.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many different aspects of God. Everyone only wants to talk about the good.
Yeah.
Right? But there's a God that'll destroy you too.
Yeah.
There's a God that does all those things. So it's just a matter of when I learned that, it was just a matter of what side do I choose? Which side do I want to exist in? Because wherever side I exist in, that joker's right there. I just like peace. That's all. I just like joy.
I just prefer that.
You know, I'm a little spicy, so sometimes I want to boom. You know, I get a little that too now. Don't get twisted. But even in that space, God is there with me.
God is there.
Yeah.
I think that's been the most important part for me, is realizing that God never left. I think there's points where like you would feel like there are things
Let me say this.
What?
God is there even when I was in the closet mixing up potions because I was somewhere. I don't know, because in my travel with God, I went through a lot of religions.
Yeah.
I went through Yoruba culture. I went to Santeria culture. I went into all the cultures I could get into trying to find this joker.
Yeah.
There was times I was making potions, shaking up bottles and doing stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because I was just, hey, that's what they told me. That's what they told me. They told me. Until I got to listening to what God was telling me. And I didn't, when I started listening to what God was telling me, I didn't have to do all those things. Those were just things that...
modalities.
Yeah, those are different modalities that someone taught me that I need to do to have this specific outcome or protect myself from this. And I don't speak no bad towards it. Those were doors I needed to go through. Mm-hmm. They were valuable doors. They're just not a door I live in today. Right? The door I live in today is just straight communication with that joker. Listen, pay attention, focus, and be in alignment, and live life. And it doesn't require all that work, because the way they were teaching me was I had a lot of work to do. Mm-hmm. I had to buy a lot of herbs. I had to buy a lot of flowers. I had to buy a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's okay. So for someone who's practicing Santeria, somebody who's practicing Yoruba, those are all fine. Those are beautiful doors. I went through them. I just didn't stay there. I respect them. However you have to get there. Yeah. That's how you get there. God will take you through whatever door He needs to take you through to see however you're going to need to see it. Mm-hmm. That's why I like them.
That's why you got to.
I don't care where you at, what religion you're in. There's no fight.
Because for me, God, when I had, if y'all looked at that little shelf back there about 3-4 weeks ago, it was full of tarot cards. God was with me when I was shuffling tarot cards, because that was how I could communicate with God at that time, and God met me there. So I love that you brought that up, because I do want to say that, to me personally, God is in everything. God is in the crystals. God is in the potions. God is in the cards.
The stars.
God is in the stars and the moons. The zodiacs. God is in all of it. All of it leads us back to the infinite intelligence that is God. Yeah. However you get there, to me, in my reality, however you get there, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't want to ever judge anyone who takes their own path. As long as the path that you're taking leads you to God, and works for you, then that's what works for you. And if you're on the path, it's the path you're supposed to be on. There's no such thing as ever being on a wrong path.
Nope. The joker's going to get you there. I don't care how. And sometimes it makes me really sad when people come up in their judgment energy. Well, you don't believe in God because this, or I don't know about that God. What? Mm-hmm. How do you stand in judgment if you even believe in God? Mm-hmm. How do you then stand in judgment? Because doesn't God tell you not to do that, right? Like, seriously?
Yeah.
But that kind of makes me not feel as happy inside.
Yeah. No, I'll be asking God, how do I navigate through that? Because sometimes I do get offended when I get offended when I hear people say, like, I just saw a comment yesterday. I don't even know what video I was on, but I was on some video. And it was like a sermon. Mm-hmm. And in a comment, someone commented, I threw away all of those crystals and that witchcraft, and I give myself over to God today. And not that anything is wrong with that.
That's your walk.
If that's your walk. But what hurts me sometimes is when people condemn the things that they've been through, or the things that they use because they're no longer serving them, or the things that are serving other people. Like, that makes me feel hurt for us, like, as people.
It's almost like taking the beauty out of your journey. Yeah. It's a part of your journey. Whatever it is, it's a part of your journey. And all of the pieces needed to be there. And this one lady got up there and I said, wow, that's an interesting statement. If you guys are following Beyonce, I banish you or something. I went, wow, that's interesting. Pastor so-and-so, that's interesting. That's an interesting position to take.
Mhm.
Now, she can take the position because all positions are available.
Yeah.
And God is with her even in that position.
Mm-hmm.
Is for me, I found the position, wow, very judgmental, very not welcoming, very not, it just didn't feel good to me.
Yeah.
You're on your journey.
Yeah.
You're on your journey.
Can
Can I say something that's not what you think I'm going to say?
Okay.
And it's not a nice thing.
Okay.
It's just like me when I was sexually violated, right?
Okay.
That person who sexually violated me was in their happy space.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they wanted to do. I'm not saying that this is a happy time. I'm not encouraging people to hurt people.
Yeah.
But that thing that he was doing was his happy space. It just happened to cause me pain.
Right.
I didn't like it, but I don't go and condemn him to hell and say he's a horrible person. It's just part of his journey.
Right.
And it just so happened to be part of my journey.
Right.
And I look at that thing and I go, the beauty of that thing, even though it was horrible, right? People was look at that and go, it was horrible. And at the time when I was in it, I didn't feel very good, right? But at the end of it coming out, when I was asking God why that happened, God said, because that was something that was deposited in you when you were a kid. You took it, you grew it, you said, this is what's going to happen to me. And then you made it happen. How powerful of a moment that was.
Right.
That was God in that thing.
Yeah.
But if you don't look for God in the thing, you won't find God in the thing.
Mm-hmm.
All you'll have is the pain of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or the anger of a thing. You have to be able to look for God in the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you feel that way about Beyonce, okay, fine. Go find God in the thing.
Yeah.
If you don't look for it, you won't find it.
Yeah.
You gotta look for it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. Sometimes it can be like, remember, like, you know how back in, well, thank you for sharing that. I don't want to like skim over that. I know it's a story that I personally, we've talked about, but sharing it here. So thank you for sharing that.
That's it. It's a part of my journey.
It's part of the journey. God sometimes can be like, remember how you were like a kid and there was like those pictures and then there were like hidden things in the picture. You had to like look real hard to circle it and find it.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Where's Waldo? That's what
Yes.
we used to do.
Okay, boom. Like
Where's Waldo?
just like that. So sometimes you have to look and see God, find all the God moments that are in the moments.
Yes.
The heavier moments that may be part of your journey.
Yes. Yeah. I can hear people, I can even hear people saying, well, nobody wants to be violated. Nobody. What is she talking about? All of that negative talk. But it's okay if you want to stay in that space. God provides even that space.
Yeah.
That's how beautiful this Joker is.
Mm-hmm.
It will provide the space for you to sit in that space.
Yeah.
But it doesn't remove that there's another space to sit in.
Yes.
The beauty of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like that space a lot better.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you for letting me share that.
Yes. It's part of your story.
It's a part of the journey.
It's part of the journey.
It's part of the journey.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just processing because you went to a big one. You took us there.
Yeah, that's a huge one. That's what I said. I was like asking for permission. I don't know if you want to cut it out or not, but it's a part of my journey. And maybe someone out of all of this, maybe there's a lot of reasons someone had to pick this show to watch, and maybe someone could be sitting in a space of violation and being stuck there and been stuck there for a long time and don't know how to get out of that space. Maybe this is why Spirit said to share this part so that they can get unstuck too. Because we don't have to stay stuck in those spaces, in any space, in any space. Let me just say this so that if somebody is doing their work, they can understand what I'm saying. Is that okay? So it's like when I was growing up, my mom and my dad were born in the South, and they always, my family lived 2 blocks from the KKK. My mom and my dad grew up 2 blocks from the Ku Klux Klan. So they were able to see a lot of racism, and they were able to see sexual violations happening within their community. So these are things that they saw.
Right.
And these were fears that they had, real life fears, that when they produced me inside of those fears. And inside of those fears, I come, and then they raise me according to those fears.
Right.
I just happen to be made aware of it through verbal. Some people don't have the verbal content, but my dad happened to give me the verbal content that would tell me this would be something that I would go through, because that's what he saw, that's what he knew.
Right.
So I happen to have the verbal part of that. Some people don't. Doesn't matter if it's in there and you have it and you hold on to it, it grows.
Yeah.
And it becomes a reality for you. And so I just wanted to explain that for someone who might be sitting there going, what does she mean she birthed that?
Right.
Because I was asking God, I was like, my thing was with God, because again, I told you I had to trust this joker. And how can I trust you if you let me go through this? That was one of my things.
Right.
Like, trust you? Really?
Right.
Where was you at that night?
Yeah.
So God showed me how that developed in me. God was like, that was just power untrained. Power that, you didn't have anyone to show you how to use this power to navigate life, to avoid that. More so, you had someone deposit this energy and help you develop it.
Right.
So it still was my power. So knowing that made me go, oh, let me redirect my power then. I got it.
All right, if I have this power, let me use it for my greatest, highest good versus using it not against yourself, but in that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so it is.
That's right.
And I made sure I was like, my baby not gonna ever have this. I started using it like that. No, baby, you don't have that right there.
Yeah.
You may have some other stuff. You may have a crazy mind, but you ain't gonna have that.
Yeah. Yeah. And the things that, it shows that how important it is to be. It's number one, to be like your healing and stuff like that, but then to be just meticulous in what you give to your children as well, and the words that you speak into your reality, and just being mindful of the thoughts that you have and what thoughts you even allow to grow.
Yes, because they're real. That as a man thinketh, so shall he be. It's real. Whether you, just look at your life and pay attention to that.
One of the things I get on people in my, I'm going to just change for a moment, but one of the same thing. One thing I get on people, like when I hear them say like, it's always something. I'm like, don't you say that. Don't you say it's always something, because when you say that, your reality will reflect it is always something. And it's not because God wants you to suffer or have those bad experiences. It's just because that's the reality that you're choosing, and God is with you in all of it. So if it is what you want to have because you are saying it out of your mouth, God will grant it to you. So God will allow you to have that. So it is just a matter of also just being mindful of the way that you speak over your life, what you say, what you believe, being mindful of what you ingest, what you're a part of, all that stuff. It's good to be intentional with it. And I don't mean like going, if that's not your journey, nothing wrong with this journey, but I don't mean you have to go and be a nun, right? Because we live in a world that has lots of things, and maybe you won't participate in some. So it's just like for me right now, my journey, I just am mindful of how much I indulge in a thing. So it's kind of like, think about a diet, right? You think about eating cleaner. Maybe I want to eat cleaner 80% of the time, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to go have that chocolate chip cookie from that vegan bake shop. I'm going to go and I'm going to have it. Right? But I just can't go and have it every single day. So that's how I right now think about the world, right? Like when I wake up in the morning, I have to build my spirit up and be mindful of what I'm taking myself through early in the morning, because that's setting the intention for the day.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean I'm not going to put on some ratchet music throughout the day if I need a little pick me up right fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's just being mindful of how much of it I'm consuming at this point in my journey. So that kind of just, from what you were saying, brought me to just being intentional about what you are allowing to grow in you.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Because God's even been getting on me, like telling me, I want you to be quick to move on. I want you to be quick to forgive. I want you to be quick to just move through things. Because I don't even know if I want to fully go into it in this episode, because it's like a whole episode on its own. But, God works with me with theories. I'm having theories. So I have this theory that the only thing really ever standing between us and what we want is our ability to believe that we are worthy of it. Our ability to forgive ourselves, our ability to move forward. That is the only thing ever standing between us and the promises that God is not holding his promise from us. It's just our ability to get there. So being quick to forgive is a skill that God is working on me with, so that as I'm navigating through life, I'm able to not sit and grow feelings of anger or frustration and now have a bad day and have a bad week, have a bad month. No, be quick to move on. God has told me, even when I bless you, be quick to move on from that. That sounds kind of crazy, right? But
it doesn't sound crazy to me.
Does it sound crazy to you? Okay.
I'll tell you why whenever you tell me I can.
Okay. But you'll say it in the episode?
I'll say it here.
Okay. So I'm going to see what this is saying. So God was telling me be quick to even move on from blessings, because God's like, I want to bless you with more. But if you can't let go of the last blessing, I can't even bless you with more. So just be quick, not appreciate it, right? Appreciate it, be present, enjoy it as it's happening. But be quick to also let it go, because you live a blessed life. So also don't take a one blessing and be like, put it on this high pedestal when I want this to be your life now. I want this to be just day-to-day life, and don't take it for granted, of course. But I want you to be able to be quick to just experience things and move through them and move forward and being present in them at the same time. That makes sense?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Okay, what were you? What was that?
So for me, God. You know how they used to say you have to praise God. You have to give God thanks and all those things. Some people call it gratefulness, like show God that you're grateful.
Yeah.
And I remember telling God one day, because one of the things I didn't want from God is I didn't want a God of ego. I was like, I don't do real good with the ego.
Yeah.
But you want praise and you want me to stroke you, and I don't, tell me more about that.
Right.
And God said to me, well, that's for you humans. Like, that's something that you guys need to do.
Yeah.
It's not anything I require. It's what you guys need. Some kind of way those things encourage you. Some kind of way those things get you moving. So praise and gratefulness and all of that is a source of energy for you. It's not necessary for me. It doesn't change me one way or the other, because I'm showing up one way or the other. Whether you praise me or you don't, I'm here.
Yeah.
And I went, got it. So when you said that, I went, that makes sense, because God's like, I don't need to praise. Let's go. Let's go. And if you can generate the willingness to move forward fast without having to sit and, oh, thank you, God, it makes sense to me that he would go, I got other stuff. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, she don't need to sit there for 20 minutes. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. I get that. Yes. I get that.
Yes.
That's how I get that.
How you, yeah. No, literally. I'm like, it was really, that was a good one. I was like, okay. Just like, I want you to be able to move through. And this is super random, but I have this, like, I don't know. I even think about it with like homeless people too, even though it's part of their journey. Like, I feel like sometimes, not all, obviously don't think it's overall, but sometimes I think about how God meets us everywhere, right? So now I'm kind of going back to gratitude for a little bit, but God meets us everywhere. And then like that being grateful, because I don't know why I thought about homeless people, but just being grateful for where we are, what we have, and then God meeting us where we are. So even homeless people, there's something to be grateful for. Like, I'm grateful that I found a shelter to get into tonight. I'm grateful that I found a tunnel to get under tonight. I'm grateful that I have a tent tonight. And then it was something about sometimes for homeless people, like they might have gotten to that point because they were not able to forgive themselves for certain things, maybe. Like, you know what I mean? Like that ability to move forward and to move on. Like we get down because we're not able to forgive ourselves. Never that God doesn't forgive us, but we're not able to forgive us. And when we can't forgive us and when we can't let go of things, then it starts to bring you down a tier and a tier and a tier.
Preach it.
Almost.
Preach it.
Yes.
Preach it, sister. Yes. Yes, it's real.
And that ability to forgive, I believe, comes from that knowingness that we're always loved. Yeah. Like I can love me wherever I travel to. Yeah. I can love me wherever I am and whatever I'm feeling, it's okay.
And that's God to me.
And that's God.
Yeah. That's that joker right there.
That is God.
Yeah.
Because y'all watched that last season, okay? I told y'all some of the things I was going through, okay? And that is when I really was just like, God's here. God's here in this moment where I'm not feeling my best. God's walking with me through it as I navigate myself.
Yeah. What time is it?
4:35.
Okay, I got time.
Oh, we need to wrap up.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, no, go ahead.
I was going to say, humans are very emotional. We are very emotional beings, and our emotions fuel us. This is why forgiveness is so powerful, because if we don't forgive ourselves, we're not able to latch on to the frequency of whatever it is we're trying to get, whether it's success or love or joy or peace. You know, we will use our emotions to judge us and keep us away from things. So the emotions are important to, like you say, forgive, or even gratefulness. Like even when I sit down, I go, oh my God, I'm so thankful. Thank you. I'll say thank you, God, all the time. Yeah. Even though I know that joker don't need it. Right. That makes my gratefulness even more better. Right. So I'll be like, oh, thank you so much. What that does for me is it installs trust. It makes me feel more like I can trust you. Yeah. Yeah. It makes me feel more like, oh, you got my back. Yeah. And that's what thank you means to me. To God, it means I'm always here. Yeah. What's next? Yeah. Yeah. I like whether you're grateful or not, I'm still here. What's next? That's that unconditional. That feeds, when God told me that fed unconditional. Because I also said, I knew who the God I wanted to serve. It had to be unconditional love. Because I know I'm a jack up. I know I'm a hot mess. So give me unconditional. Yeah. So when God told me that, when it said I don't need all that, that fueled unconditional for me. And that has to be another episode. Okay. Because we have to wrap this one up. But we could go all day. Y'all see how we didn't drop through 5 full episodes in one episode. Okay? But you know, we a God of abundance, because I'm like, we need to make this 5 episodes. God will flow more and more conversations to us. So we will let all of this be one episode. It was jam-packed with a lot of goodness. Yeah. A lot of goodness. So before we go, I do want to share like one way you are deciding to be to expand and to be limitless. What are one of the limiting barriers that you feel like you've broken out of, either today through this conversation or just in general? Oh, say it. I thought you were asking them that. Oh, no, I'm asking you. Okay, say it again. Okay, what are one of the things, I want to end each episode with one of the ways that post this conversation, what barrier are you breaking out of that was limited? So now that we're being limitless, we are limitless beings. Limitless being. What limited barrier did you break through today or recently? Well, I think that recently. Can I say from a long time ago? Sure. Okay. Well, yeah. Because recently for me is, I'm just enjoying this this stuff right now. I'm not breaking anything. I'm not necessarily breaking anything that I know of.
But just enjoying could be the belief that life, like you're breaking through that limit, that barrier of life having to be anything besides enjoyable.
That's it. You said it.
Yeah, like life gets better and better.
Life gets better and better. So I love the way you said, I cannot say it any better. But since I have to be the one to say it, I'll say it like this. I broke, was it breaking?
Mm-hmm.
I have broke the questions that I've had towards God. And now I'm just resting in the knowing of God.
And I'm an amen hers for today. That's going to be mine as well. Thank you guys for watching. This has been a great episode. If you want to see more of my mama bear, let us know. We have lots of episodes coming for her podcast too. So you guys can be looking out for that when that launches.
Yeah. And I'll be putting up the website soon. I took it down so that I can rest in the knowing.
Yes.
Right? But when it comes back up, it's theanewpractice.com and doctanu.com.
Period. So we're going to hop off of here, but it's been a lovely chatting. And I love you, Mama. Thanks for coming on.
I love you too. Thank you for having me.
And I will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.